Hey guys, and welcome back to Grace and Obstacles, another Formal Friday. Today I thought I would talk about how we got pregnant so fast with baby number 2 as opposed to taking 3 years with Amelia. And so I just want to talk about some different things such as environmental factors, personal health-wise factors, things that I changed up when we decided to start trying again that I believe aided in the fact that we got pregnant so fast this time. And now it could be none of these things. It could be all of these things put together. I'm not saying that if you do these things that you're gonna get pregnant super fast. These are just the things that I did that I believe helped us to get pregnant in only 2 months as opposed to 3 years the first time. So a bit of a backstory, it took us 3 years to get pregnant with Amelia, and now that first year is that first year that nobody will talk to you unless you've been trying for at least a year, because healthy couples on average take 1 year to get pregnant, at least that's what they say. And so typically doctors won't even talk to you, prescribe you anything, do any tests or anything until you've been trying for a year. So even though my doctor knew that I had PCOS, that I wasn't ovulating, wasn't getting a period, was having a hard time, he still wanted us to wait that 1 year, which I believe was an absolute waste of time, but I understand where they're coming from. So whatever. So that was the first year. After that year, he sent us to a fertility specialist in Ottawa, which was also a waste of time. That fertility specialist wouldn't even look at me, do tests, and nothing until I lost about 80 pounds, which for those of you who have PCOS, or even if you don't, it is very, very difficult just to maintain your weight, let alone lose 80 pounds. And so if it was gonna take me losing 80 pounds before I was even looked at, that wasn't going to happen anytime soon, if ever. And so I stopped going to that fertility specialist after a year because it was just a waste of our time. So I was finally sent to an OB who right away prescribed me Prometrium to get me started on an actual period because I wasn't getting a period because I wasn't ovulating, and then Clomid in order to help me ovulate. And now it took me 9 rounds to actually get pregnant with Amelia. 3 single doses, 3 double doses, and 3 triple doses. And on that final last dose, I finally got pregnant. And in that time, it took about another year for those 9 rounds. So that's a bit of a backstory on how we got pregnant with Amelia. So I'm just gonna talk about what we did the second time, which I believe helped us to get pregnant faster. So first of all, I didn't have that first year where I had to wait and see if we could get pregnant naturally. I didn't have that whole full year of going to the fertility specialist. So there alone is 2 years we don't have to worry about. And I knew right away that I was gonna need to be put on Clomid. And so I'm gonna talk about first more of the healthy lifestyle things that I did, and then I'll get into the meds after that. So when we decided that we were gonna try and get pregnant again, I knew that I needed to get my body back in, I guess, a good condition for being pregnant. I didn't want to go and like lose 100 pounds. I didn't want to do anything drastic because with a toddler, that's difficult. I just wanted to make sure that I was fueling my body properly. And so we started eating a lot better, lots of fruits and veggies, lean proteins, the complex carbohydrates, all the good stuff going into my body that would fuel my body and help in getting pregnant. And I also started going for walks more frequently, and because it was springtime and summer, we were able to actually get out a lot more. So we were able to go down to the park, go for walks, play outside with the ball and the dog because Amelia is running now, so I could actually be more active with her. And so that's how I kind of made sure that my lifestyle was a bit more healthy than just sitting on the couch, just doing nothing. So I think that definitely helped. Another thing that I did was I wanted to be looking at my ovulation by looking at my basal body temperature. When we did Clomid the first time, I didn't know anything about ovulation, nothing. And so my OB would give me the Clomid, and then on day 21, she would send me for blood work. If it looked like I hadn't ovulated yet, she would start another round right away. What I didn't know is that day 21 doesn't necessarily have to be day 21. It needs to be 7 days after you ovulated. And so I wasn't ovulating on day 14, so there was no way that day 21 blood work would show up with ovulation. Whenever I finally got pregnant with Amelia, I think I actually ovulated on like day 19, and so it would have been day 26 I should have gone for blood work, which by the end of it I realized, and I did. And so this time I was a lot more educated in what I was looking for. So I wanted to track my basal body temperature through my entire cycle, and now you do this orally through mouth. Some people prefer to do it vaginally because it's more accurate for them. I do it orally, and so you just get, it's a specific basal body thermometer, and now I just have the Life brand, and so you take your temperature every single morning before you move, before you get up to go to the bathroom, before your feet hit the floor, you take your temperature. And I would always chart it in the app Fertility Friend, and so it would show you the line in the graph, and you would chart other things such as your cervical mucus and other things that would be deemed like fertile, and so it would kind of give you an idea of when you might be ovulating. And so I did my basal body temperature every morning, and then around cycle day 10 I would start doing OPK, which are ovulation predictor kits. And now my first cycle this time around, I ovulated on cycle day 19, and that was confirmed by the basal body temperature, because you'll all of a sudden get a spike in your temperature and it'll stay up there for at least 3 days, and that'll show you that you did in fact ovulate. And so our second cycle, which we actually got pregnant on, I didn't actually ovulate until cycle day 26. And so I knew that because I was continuously checking my temperature, and when it hadn't risen yet, I knew that I had not ovulated yet. Even though I was using ovulation predictor kits, I got 8 days in a row of positive ovulation predictor kits, which can happen with PCOS. Your LH levels are already so high that it can sometimes trick the ovulation predictor kits. Your body can start gearing up for ovulation, and it'll stay there, but it won't actually ovulate until certain days, and so you'll get multiple days in a row of positive predictor kits. And you won't know unless you actually are temping and looking at your temperatures. You won't actually know if you've ovulated or not. And so with Luke being out of town, we needed to do this because I needed to know if I have ovulated yet, then yep, go back out of town, you're good, you're done. But if I hadn't, I'd have to say, you need to come home, we need to try again, I haven't ovulated yet. And so if I wasn't doing this, I would have been going off of the predictor kits, and we probably would have missed it because I was so delayed in ovulating this month. So definitely use this in trying to get pregnant. It's super easy, super simple. You don't have to continuously buy these. It's just one buy every morning, chart it, super simple, and you can tell if you're ovulating or not. So now on to the meds. As soon as I was thinking about possibly trying to get pregnant again, I went right on to prenatals, and now I use the Materna brand. So that's what I used when I was pregnant with Amelia. I used it for about the first 6 months postpartum for breastfeeding, and then I stopped. I didn't think I needed it, and I don't feel like I did. I was taking other one-a-day vitamins, so I started taking these, I think it was around November. I started taking these, so I had already been on these for almost 6 months before we actually started trying. So I wanted to make sure again that my body was prepped and ready to get pregnant. I was also on the 1 milligram of folic acid. This is just the Jameson brand. Again, I wanted to make sure that my body was prepped and that everything in there was working well, and that I wasn't just introducing these when we wanted to start. I wanted to make sure that I was on these in lots of time. I was then put on Prometrium by my OB because I had been postpartum for a year. I still hadn't gotten a period, and I don't know when I would have if I wasn't put on Prometrium. So he put me on Prometrium, which I believe is a progesterone, I think it's a progesterone pill. You go on once for 10 days, and then after that, a couple days later, you get your period. And then as soon as you get your period, you can start Clomid. And now because my doctor had known from my previous pregnancy what it took me to actually get pregnant, he put me right on the 150 milligrams, the triple dose of Clomid. And so I knew it was going to happen quick. I didn't know it was going to happen this quick, but he put me right on the Clomid. So my first cycle, I did ovulate, which was great. No pregnancy, but we weren't expecting that. And it was my second cycle that I did ovulate again and actually got pregnant. And now what I think is actually has helped me get pregnant both times is the low dose aspirin. When we were trying with Amelia, it was our final cycle. If we hadn't gotten pregnant that 9th round, we were gonna have to be sent to somebody else for IUI or IVF. And so I had heard about people taking the daily low dose aspirin, the 81 milligrams, to get pregnant, and I thought, why not? There's nothing to lose. And the month that I started taking the low dose aspirin is the month that we got pregnant with Amelia. And so I personally feel that it's what helped. And so I thought I'm absolutely going to go back onto it for this one. I think it's what actually did it for me. And so it doesn't matter what brand it is. This is just the Bayer brand, but what matters is the dose. So it has to be 81 milligrams and no higher, or else you risk other side effects with getting pregnant. So it has to be 81 milligrams. And now what the aspirin does is it helps with the blood flow and circulation to your uterus and to your ovaries, which can only help. It helps with the hormones. It also helps to thicken the uterus wall. And now women who have had issues with early miscarriages, such as chemical pregnancies, usually what happens is the uterine lining isn't thick enough, and so the embryo doesn't have a good cushioned place to really live and call home, and so unfortunately it doesn't stick, which is what they call sticky beans, or embryos that really stick in there. And so the aspirin can help to thicken the uterine wall and really make a good cushioned place for that little embryo to call home. Other things it can help with are women who have issues with coagulation in the blood. This can help thin the blood out and stop that coagulation. So again, 81 milligrams, I believe is what helps me. I don't know if there's something going on with my blood. Nothing's ever come up, but this I believe is what helped us. Other things you can do that are similar are pineapple, and especially the pineapple core. It has bromelain in it, and it works similar to aspirin, and then it helps to improve the blood circulation, the thickening of the uterine wall, and things that are similar to aspirin. They say that if you're going to do aspirin, not to do the pineapple core or vice versa, just because the two of them together can almost thin your blood too much. If you're gonna do pineapple core, do it 1 to 5 days post ovulation. Those 5 days, have a good inch of pineapple and pineapple core, and just eat it. It tastes good. The core is a little bit hard to eat, but it has really, really good effects. And so definitely give that a try. The aspirin, if you go on it, you have to stay on the aspirin until after your second trimester, because it can cause problems if you go off of it too quick. So just, and of course, talk to your doctor. If you're gonna go on it, let your midwife, OB, doctor know that you're on it, because they will tell you to stay on it until after your second trimester, just to prevent anything from happening. I think another thing that helped us was my stress level. Whenever we were trying to get pregnant with Amelia, we've been trying for so long. I was so stressed out. All I wanted was to get pregnant. And so this time, having Amelia already, I wasn't desperate for that pregnancy. I wasn't super stressed out. I was like, you know what? We're just gonna have fun this time. Yes, I'm taking my temperature. Yes, I'm doing predictor kits. Yes, I'm on all these meds. But I want to try and have fun this time. I don't want to be stressed out about it. And so I think the fact that I was so busy with Amelia, so busy with our house being on the market, that I didn't have time to really sit and dwell on anything for so long. And so I was a lot less stressed this time. And I know that women hate hearing, stop stressing out, it'll just happen. But it's true, just if you're stressed out, your body's gonna sense that and it's going to just push things further and further back. Stress isn't good for anybody, let alone somebody trying to get pregnant. So if you can, try and bring those stress levels down a little bit. I know it's easier said than done, especially when you've been at this a long, long time, but just try and bring it down a little bit and remember to have fun. So anyways, that's what we did, and that's what I believe is what helped me get pregnant so fast with Amelia. Of course, being put right onto those meds really, really helped, but I think everything in conjunction together is what really, really helped us, and is what so far is making this pregnancy a very healthy pregnancy. I won't know until next week for our dating ultrasound how things actually are, but with how I'm feeling and my symptoms and everything, things seem to be good. And so I'm going to chalk that up to everything that I'm still doing, which is still a healthy lifestyle, still on prenatal, still on folic acid, still on low-dose aspirin, still seemingly low stress levels. And so give this stuff a try. If you haven't tried it yet, give it a shot, whether it's the temperature, whether it's the low-dose aspirin, whether it's the pineapple. Anything can help. If I can help anybody, if even one of these things helps somebody to get pregnant, then again, I've done my job, as that's why I'm here, is to help other people. And so that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, press that red subscribe button. I do daily vlogs with my daughter and husband Monday to Sunday, and 4 more Friday videos like this every Friday. If you like the video, give it a big old thumbs up down below, leave a nice and friendly comment, and if you have any questions at all about anything that I've talked about or anything in general that has to do with pregnancy or anything, leave it down below. I am always responding to comments, always talking to my followers. I really want to make sure that I'm engaged with my audience, so if you have any questions at all, post it down below and I will make sure to answer it, I promise. And we'll see you next week for my 8-week bump date and hopefully a very, very positive ultrasound result, as that will be next Tuesday. So yeah, stay tuned for that and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.